What's up? I've seen a lot of debate over the best 4 stars to build, and obviously I have this other video that's going out that's called Best 4 Stars in Wuthering Waves, but there's a lot of 4 stars in Wuthering Waves, and there's a few of them that are specifically good for free-to-play players. So today I wanted to talk about the best free-to-play team for Wuthering Waves. This is specifically at launch. If we get new free characters in the future, things may change, but for now, let's get into it. Wuthering Waves is a very interesting cast. You have a lot of pretty unique characters going on here with different play styles, and I think that's really cool. Among them, you have specific 4 stars, and some of which are going to be free. Tao-Chi is not a free 4 star, but she's cute. I like her a lot. You have Yang Yang, who is also cute. Dude, I don't know how she runs in that skirt though. I'm not gonna lie, like that's kind of insane. But yeah, she's great. I love her as well. And I really like, okay, maybe I'm just down bad. The free 4 stars that you're gonna get are gonna be Yang Yang, Qiqia, Baiji, Sanhua, Yuanwu, and of course, the Rover, which is the main character of the game. Now you'll get a couple different elements with Rover. Eventually you'll be getting Havoc Rover, which is nice. But I want to talk about the best free-to-play team that you can build. That means characters that you can get for free, not just any 4 star. So taking out Tao-Chi, taking out Danjin, characters like that. Let's just talk about specifically the best 4 star team you can play. I've seen people making arguments for most characters in this game. Obviously, Yang Yang has some grouping. She's really, really strong in that regard. However, her damage numbers just don't necessarily hold up on the same level as some of the other characters. But she does have an amazing outro skill that's basically going to give you a bunch of... Oh, that wrong screen. It's basically going to give you a lot of energy, 20 energy, whenever she gets her outro, which is great because that means if you're struggling with energy, you can kind of funnel that into your next character. The downside is that a lot of characters that may want to use their Resonance Liberation right at the start of their rotation, so that way they can gain more energy back with their skill, don't get as much benefit from that because that implies that they have to be able to already use their Resonance Liberation to even get the value from Yang Yang to begin with, so they might miss a second or two of the energy generation, even just starting. This game isn't like Genshin Impact, where the particles have to fly to you before you can pick them up. This game just straight up gives you the energy, meaning that you can't necessarily just funnel energy for free like you could in the other game. With that said, the energy passive is still very good, and I do imagine that Yang Yang is going to be a very strong unit in the future with specific team setups that might need that energy. Qiqia used to be actually very, very strong in past CBTs. I think she got some rebalances. She got kind of a rework and her abilities work in a different way, but she is just meant to be a fusion DPS character. And Baiji's meant to be a healer buffer of sorts that is actually very, very strong. And I'll talk about her again in a little bit. Sanhua, now we don't know if she's going to be free to play forever, but we do know at launch, when most of you guys are watching this video, she is going to be achievable in just a couple days playtime. And her damage is very, very consistent and very good, and her outro skill is going to benefit a lot of different characters. Being able to give your teammates a basic attack deepen bonus is very good. And Yuanwu, you're not going to be able to get him right at release because you are going to have to clear Tower of Adversity, but for those gamers out there, you'll speedrun a Tower of Adversity and you'll try to clear it as fast as possible to get a hold of him. And honestly, I don't blame you because this guy is official. He's going to constantly do electro damage off field. He's fantastic. And lastly, of the free characters, we have the Rover, which on Spectro has a time stop ability and a heal once you get him to sequence node 4. Now, aside from the Rovers in this game just having like some of my favorite designs, they are unironically strong characters. But are they strong enough to be on the best 4-star team or the best free-to-play team? Well, let's take a look at things. Yes, the area of stasis is good. That 3 seconds can be very helpful, especially if you need to actually generate any sort of gauge that is locked to an ability. For example, if you have Kalcharo, his skill is actually a very small hitbox and you need it to get charges towards his forte circuit. So because of that, this stasis area can be very good, especially against enemies that move a lot. However, it is only 3 seconds long. If it was 5 seconds, it'd be a different story. 3 seconds still is a decent amount of time, but it's not going to be game-changing in every single scenario. So while they are an amazing character and can benefit a lot of different teams, the stasis itself isn't going to be insanely game-changing. But I will say, Spectral Rover's damage is pretty significant. And on top of that, that healing that scales off of their attack, and also reducing Spectro damage res means that whenever we have a Spectro damage dealer, Spectral Rover will probably be one of the better characters to pick up. Well, not pick up because you already have him, burst free. But build, because of how useful he could be in specific teams. For the rest of this video, I'm gonna refer to Spectre Rover as she, actually, because look, I already know what Rover you're picking. Okay, it's so Rover. So while some of the best characters would seem to appear to be characters like Yang, who has grouping and energy, and Rover, who has time stop, if we want to be technical about it, one of the best setups that you can have as a free-to-play player is going to be Sanhua, Yeonwoo, and Baichi. Now, this isn't because Sanhua and Yeonwoo have any particular synergy together. Not to say that Yeonwoo's damage on field is bad, because it's not necessarily too bad. But if you think about it from the perspective of, oh, we don't have a lot of supports that are free-to-play for any DPS characters, having a sub-DPS is going to be the best replacement for that. And then on top of that, you have Baichi, who not only heals your team, but also has all-type damage deepen, which is a 1.15 times multiplier to all your character's damage for 6 seconds, except it's not actually 6 seconds because it's every 3 seconds for 30 seconds, which makes it 36 seconds. So yeah, I don't know why they didn't just make it like 36. Anyways, basically what I'm saying is that your character is going to get a 1.15 times damage multiplier, and then Sanhua is going to be able to give a 38% basic attack damage deepen over to Yeonwoo. And when you're playing him, you're basically going to start by putting down his pillar. You're going to basic attack a whole bunch, and then you're going to put down pillar again, outro skill to Baichi to get a bunch of damage on Yeonwoo. Baichi heal, outro skill into Sanhua again. And the reason that this is going to be your best free-to-play team, in my opinion, is because Sanhua's damage is insane. You have a sub DPS who also does pretty solid damage, and you also have Baichi, who is going to help you a ton by both healing and giving you that damage multiplier. Now, on top of that, the other reason you want to run a healer is because this healing set is very strong. Basically, what this is going to do is make it so when you heal allies, the attack for the entire team gets increased. On top of that, Baichi also has an attack bonus for your team as well. So with the healing set, with the attack bonus, with the damage deepen, Baichi is basically the 4-star Verena. And it's very clear why she would be very strong, especially on your free-to-play teams. You can always replace Sanhua with Rover and just use Rover as sort of a main damage dealer. But with this character as a sub DPS Yeonwoo and Baichi here, all you basically need is a main damage dealer, and Sanhua does the job. So let me show you this team actually works. So basically what we're going to be doing is fighting this hologram boss. We're going to try to proc our outro skill, get a little bit more energy here. And now we have the outro skill proc, so our basic attacks are going to do a little bit more damage. Not that Yeonwoo's damage on field is like super insane anyways, but it's nice to have. We keep putting down our pillar here, and eventually we're going to want to proc that outro skill again. We're going to do our hold E. That's going to proc the outro skill. We do this, we punch, swap the Baichi. Now Baichi is in, the pillar is down, and we want to fight in this spot so we can make sure to get all the bonus electro damage that's coming out here, which is super nice. We're going to want to swap over. Now that we have procced our outro, we're going to do that. We get damage deepen, which is super nice. And then, now that we have damage deepen, and because we have the attack buff from the consistent healing, we're basically just going to wail on this guy. We can actually swap. Now, if we want to swap to Yeonwoo, we can. We could swap to him and swap back to Sanhua. But the boss is already dead. So it's already been completed. It's already done. I was in 1 minute, so honestly, it can be a lot better. We're level 60. It's level 60. It is what it is. I mean, a solo dungeon run might be better, but dungeon's not a completely free-to-play unit. So now let me show you Tower of Adversity. Now, this is some of the end-game content. This isn't the highest floor, but this is going to be a floor with higher-level enemies than what we have as our current playable characters. These are going to be level 70 enemies, and it's one of the higher floors. It's not like the beginning of Tower of Adversity. So that's pretty nice. We can actually start by going with Yeonwoo and coming back over to Sanhua. And now we've procced our outro skill. We're going to swap over. And we're making sure to swap cancel on Sanhua so we can finish our heavy attack. But yeah, now we just kind of wail on the enemies a little bit. And our goal is to proc the outro skill again, so that way we can go into Baichi. Perfect. Now we're going to do this into Baichi. And now we're going to ultimate with Baichi. This is basically just going to be for healing and stuff, which is super nice. Our goal is to proc the outro once more, so that way we can move on to Sanhua here. And now we've procced the damage deepen and the attack bonus. So as we're doing this, we basically just get to keep on hitting the enemies, keep swapping through to proc the outro skills and all of that. And now we have the base attack bonus on Yeonwoo, and we punch the enemy. Blah, 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 just normal stuff. We can actually use our hold E here, which I plan on doing once this guy is dead. Actually, let's just do this to finish him off. And he's actually already dead. So there you go. So keep in mind that floor was 10 levels above where we were at, and we could even go further beyond that, but not until we get to the very, very end game where we can finally start getting like the maxed out stats, all of the bonuses we need, the ice burst damage increase after basic 5, things like Yeonwoo's bonus, and then of course extra healing, higher stats, more invested characters, etc., etc. But in my opinion, and based off of some calculations and damage and stuff, this is one of the better teams to run just because of how consistent the damage is going to be with the use of a sub DPS and Baichi buffing basically this whole team throughout the 30-second rotation. With that said, of course, there are other strong free-to-play characters, and of course, there's even stronger 4-star characters that aren't necessarily free-to-play, but just strictly damage-wise, having that sub DPS when you don't have any other options, and you don't have anyone else to buff glacial damage, when you don't have access to other sub DPS, this is going to be your best 100% free-to-play team. But of course, if you have favorites or if you have other characters that you want to play, feel free to substitute any of these characters out. Like you can sub Sunhwa for Rover, or you can even sub Yanwu for Yang Yang, and just in that floor that we were doing where the enemies were kind of spread out, we could even just start grouping them together with Yang Yang, and that would have also been fine too. So obviously it's going to depend on the content, but this has been the best free-to-play team for me, and I hope it works out for you guys. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe, do all that stuff. Comment who your favorite 4-star is of the free-to-play cast, and I'll catch you guys next time.